big fan of you.
I love this show. What are you doing next week?
We'll get you back on. No, I listened to you on Evan Dawson. I thought you did great.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
He wasn't like softballing you. He was giving you some good stuff.
You know, one thing that I think that we have to do a better job of, and I say we, I mean anyone who's running for office, is just go anywhere and talk to anybody. You know, I think that when you really preserve yourself, or, well, I got to be careful and give me the questions in advance and let me censor things, and I'll do the press conference, but I don't know about Marty's podcast. What's he going to ask me? I think you're giving yourself a very limited window for residents to get to know who you are.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I just think more of people, you know, I'm going on every show that asks me. I'm doing the radio hits. I'm doing interviews. You could have a podcast with one viewer, and I'd go on your podcast. And of course, I'm going to say some things in the course of my career that, you know, I wish I didn't say. But if you talk to people and you let people in, you let people get to know who you are, then I think people go, well, you know, I don't agree with everything Nate does or everything Nate says, but I know who Nate is. I've gotten to know him over the years, and I trust him. And hey, that one-off, that's okay. We disagree about that one issue.
Totally. It's very similar to what's happening now with, you know, how people are writing stuff online using AI.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is that as soon as I see a well-manicured AI type post, I'm completely moving on. I want to know that you have a little bit of human in you, right? Of course, some stuff, I'm not saying you're being belligerent when you're talking, but obviously there's times where you're just like being personal about stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you have to give stuff, right? You have to give a little bit of that personality in order to get, you know, in anything. Yes. And I think people see right through a polished, like, come on, man, like, who are you?
Yeah, and you know, it's such a crowded media atmosphere right now that to break through, you're right. To break through, you have to look, sound, feel different or authentic. And everybody's chasing, well, how do I sound authentic? You know, you can put into ChatGPT, how do I sound authentic, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, you just have to let it fly. I'm lucky. I'm surrounded with a lot of friends and family who aren't in politics. I didn't grow up in a political family. So my family comes from private business. You know, I've you know, we've had lunch with my dad before. He comes from the real estate business like you.
Yeah, your dad's cool.
And because that's where they're from, if I go into politician speak, I get a quick phone call. Hey, you don't sound like that.
Yeah.
Knock that off.
That's cool. That's big.
And hey, friends and family that keep you grounded, that's the best asset you can have in politics.
I bet. You need that. You need somebody to kind of, hey, come on, buddy.
Sure. And you know, look, early in my political career, I was experimenting with how do I want to sound. And I'll be honest, when I first started, because I was a staffer for so many years, I was the guy behind the scenes. I was the guy, you know, screening those phone calls, screening those interviews for so long that the early part, you know, when I ran for office in town board in 2023, I listened back to myself and I go, man, I sounded too scripted. And look, I was doing the preparation, I was doing my homework. That was really me, but I was careful with what I was saying. This time around, you know, there's a certain freedom to just say, I'm just going to tell you what I think. You can ask me anything, and I'll tell you what I think. Yeah. And is everybody going to agree with every answer? No. That's okay. Yeah. And I'm just confident that people can judge who I am as an elected official, as a person, as your neighbor, holistically, and not just on one answer that I gave you.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it, when you look at when you were talking about early on in your career, you were trying to have a script or something. Yeah. A lot of that is just confidence. Like, hey, man, I'm 31, or how old were you when you ran for town board?
Yeah, I was trying to think about this. So I'm 34 now. 31. Yeah, you got it. You nailed it.
31 is...
You know my age better than me, man. Good for you.
So, but you got to look back.
You do your homework. That's what that tells me. You did some research.
This is the Marty Grizzanti Show. This is the #1 podcast in Rochester.
You have a great podcast. I'm not going to lie. I am...
If you ask me, that's the title. The #1 podcast in Rochester, if you ask me.
Yes. Look, I reached out to you, and let me be candid on how I got in this show. I saw your show on my news feed, and I went, man, this is really well done. and I was listening to your show, and I said, I should tell people, because you know we don't tell people enough when they're doing a good job, just without a special occasion. So I shot you a text. I went, Marty, I love your show. And that's how I got invited on.
And I was like, come on.
I kind of guilted
John. I wanted John. I want to talk about, you know, we're both, and guys, for those who don't know, this is Nate Salzman, the future supervisor for the town of Brighton, which I'm really excited about. Nate, I really appreciate you coming on.
I thank you.
Even
Thanks for having
me. You begged and pleaded. No.
Yeah. First time, long time.
No, I wanted you on. We're both Brighton guys. I'm a transplant, but I know you're born and raised in Brighton.
Yeah. Yep.
And you have a young family here. I have a young family here. Yep. Your business is the business of Brighton. Yep. My business is business, and I'm looking to do great things in Brighton.
Yep.
So I think we're aligned where we want to see some cool stuff happen in Brighton. We want to see development. We want to see, we can get into this, but I want to see what other communities have. Why don't we have those things? Why don't we have an awesome community center? Why don't we have an awesome like what Greece has, right? And I know we're different, and that's fine, and we're going to have some challenges. Yeah. Why don't we have certain sidewalks? Evans Farms. That's on us. That's on the neighborhood. We'll have to talk about that.
The sidewalk districts.
It's a big internal Facebook thing going on.
I like. Let me tell you this. Let me give you a compliment on your own show here. You know what you're talking about here, because I go to some of these interviews, I get the big picture. Why did you run for office? That's a great question. Why do you run for office? Everything else. You're over here talking about sidewalk districts, man. Come on, let's go.
I want the sidewalks.
Let's go. Are you in local government? You sure you're not?
You never know.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I am on the assessment review board.
Okay,
actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't want people knowing that. No. Whatever I can do to help out the community. That was a way to help out the community.
Good.
Actually, real quick, it's on the top of my head.
Yeah.
I knew, I did work with Dennis Mites.
Yeah, Dennis is great.
And he really was a great guy.
Yes.
And you said some very nice words about him.
He's a special guy.
Yeah. I just knew him on a business front, but he really cared about his clients, and he really cared about Brighton, and he really cared about, and let me tell you something. I had personal experience with the Brighton ambulance. My son had a seizure, one of the baby seizures where you have like a fever, and so it wasn't like thank God, a long-lasting thing. But they came in like seconds to my house. So I'm a huge fan of the Brighton ambulance, and I know he ran that place extremely well. What was your experience with Dennis?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So Dennis was the chair of the zoning board, and I've got some new ideas on zoning, which I'm sure we'll get into. And so, Dennis and I would sit down. We'd go to Panera Bread. We went there a couple times, and we'd get on the phone. And this is the great thing about Dennis. You'd meet with Dennis for like an hour and a half. You talk about hockey, and he was so proud of his daughter, and such a passionate guy, and really understands Brighton, knows the zoning laws. And we get out of the meeting, and I'd call my team, and they go, "How was your meeting with Dennis? Did you convince him?" And I go, "Oh, you know what? He didn't agree with the word I said." but we'd have a great time. We'd go back and forth.
Yeah. Oh, he'll give it to you too.
Yeah.
Nate, that's not going to happen. No, yeah, right. I don't think so. No.
But it was he could state his position, and you would have the whole conversation, and you never felt like you'd argued one time.
Yeah.
And it was just like a pleasure sitting with him.
Yeah.
And learning from him, and I'd always go, but I'm going to get him next meeting.
Yeah.
And so Dennis was such a great man, and we talked about, I was on the radio. I was talking about patriotism. That was the topic. And look, I'm a local government guy. That's my angle on all of this stuff. And so when I think of patriotism, Dennis came to mind. Here's a guy who's head of the volunteer ambulance.
Yeah.
He's also volunteering countless hours chairing the zoning board. And for the viewers that don't know, you make nothing doing that.
Right.
That's just countless hours of preparation and work and talking with neighbors and businesses to how to make your community a better place. And then you just go home and, get dinner on the table.
Totally.
And, what makes me optimistic about the country, what makes me proud to be an American is people like Dennis, who are serving their community in countless ways, not asking for any thanks in return. You don't get any awards for doing this. Just a really great American, great Brightonian.
Absolutely. Well said. And will be missed. But,
yes.
One of the things you're right about is that these boards, the zoning boards, the planning boards, all those things, it is volunteer,
yes.
But it takes a lot. And I mean, I think about the assessment review board. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was you think it's something, and it's the real deal.
Yeah.
And I just have to shout out Terry Shannon.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is a guy that like I'm coming in. If you're new to a board, you don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what I was doing, but there's layers to it. I mean, this guy's got 30 years on this board, and you could tell this is like his shining moment. Like he cares so much.
Yes.
So I just have to give a shout out to Terry Shannon.
Oh, he's great. So I'll tell you, Terry wrestled with my dad way back in the day. Yeah,
he looks like a wrestler.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And I'll say this. I don't think Terry minds me saying this. So I called my dad afterwards. I go, oh, Dad, I'm meeting with your buddy Terry Shannon. He goes, yeah, the redhead. I go, yeah, sure, Dad. That's, he's not 16 anymore, So,
wait, so your dad went to Brighton too?
He did, yeah.
Wow.
He was a wrestler at Brighton.
Nice.
Dad, uncle, mom. My grandparents first moved to Brighton, so I'm a Brighton guy, man.
Yeah, you are. Your wife is Brighton.
She's Brighton. We met the first day of high school.
Crazy.
I moved around a little bit. I'd moved back for freshman year of high school. I couldn't find my locker on the first day, and I'm gonna play it off cool because I'm a cool cat.
Sure.
And I'm walking with all my books in the backpack. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. You've seen the freshmen in high school.
Yeah.
So all of them, carrying some in the front too. And Samantha, my future wife at the time, approached me and she goes, "You can't find your locker, right?" I go, yeah. So she helped me find my locker.
Was she a buddy or never met her?
Never met her.
Wow.
She was on the new student welcoming committee.
Wow.
I'm gonna embarrass her.
She felt bad for you.
That's why she went out with me the first time too. She felt bad for me. And so we were just good friends all through high school. And then we just reconnected after college, and she had just passed the bar and was starting to study for starting to go into her law firm, and I was about to go to grad school. And so I say, look, I got my first day with my wife when I was unemployed, and
she's an attorney, and you're some
a big talker.
Yeah. I got big plans.
I got big plans.
Well, she's I don't know her very well, but she's boss, right? Personal injury attorney.
She is.
That's cool.
She's a partner in her law firm.
That's great.
She's very successful, and she's brilliant.
That's great.
So I am, look, I definitely married up.
Sure.
I don't know if you want any dating advice on this show, but for any single guys listening, marry up.
Sure.
And your whole life's gonna work out all right.
Absolutely. Me too. All right. So let's talk about some of the we can go into the grandiose stuff. Oh, okay. What do you think about Brighton?
Sure.
But really, in a quick thing, what do you want to see? Because I know what I want to see. What do you want to see?
Yeah.
And what do we both want to see?
Yeah. There's and I don't have to just go off the top of my head. There's a plan on our website, on our town website, not the campaign website, the town website called Envision Brighton 2028.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
It was this big study that was done. It was expensive. It got feedback from hundreds of residents. A consultant put it together. It talked about building a vibrant downtown Brighton. And that's not a joke. I mean, it actually says downtown Brighton.
Okay.
And I've never heard anyone in the real world say that before. I'm going to go have dinner at downtown Brighton.
Yeah.
A village-like atmosphere where you can sit there and have lunch outside, where you can walk, you can go to the library and then walk to the park, go get some ice cream, walk to dinner, have a whole day just walking around downtown Brighton and then drive and go home.
Okay.
That's what I envision. I envision, people that we went to school with moving to Brighton, buying their first home in their hometown like Samantha and I did. I picture, my folks and people my folks' age, when they want to downsize, they can stay in this community. They don't have to move far out. People that when they want to start their first business, they don't have to go through 4 years of incentive zoning negotiations with a team of attorneys to start their first business. So my vision is, we make this town easier to start a business, to buy your first home, to downsize, to walk around and enjoy, with, I think, the best school district in Monroe County. And I believe the safest town in Monroe County and the best location. You're in the city in 5 minutes. You're in Pittsford, Fairport, wherever else you want to go. But hopefully we're giving you more to do right here in Brighton.
Yeah. And so how do we do that without? There's typically going to be some pain before you get to that. Sure. And what I mean by pain is like changes, and people don't typically like changing things, especially like what people are used to.
Yeah.
What I think is, you got Monroe Ave. right? And how do we create something where it's not just Salon Alley, right? And you know, great salons. I'm happy for them, but like, it's hard. I mean, how do you do it? Like, you can't create land. You can't create these plazas out of nowhere.
Sure. And you know, I can't remember who said it. I'm blanking on the quote now, but the quote is something like, "Change is annoying, status quo is absurd."
Sure.
And I think that's what I think of Brighton. You know, I think it's a great town that's falling behind. It's falling behind, and let's be honest. You know, these other towns, you can compete for those small businesses. You compete for those customers. You compete for those families moving in. Yeah. You compete for the best teachers. I mean, you and I, we're sending our kids to these schools in a few years. We want the best teachers in Brighton. We want the best sandwich shop in Brighton. And so, when you think, well, how do you draw that in? You know, I'd say this. You know, day one, you start right away trying to implement the plan, Envision Brighton 2028, that was done 10 years ago. You have a business overlay district on Monroe Avenue. But of course, with zoning changes, you bring the community in. So I'd say we invite the community into town hall. We go out into these neighborhoods, these folks who might have some hesitation, to say, what do you mean business overlay district? Well, we'll come to you, and we will bring town hall to you, and we will talk about these changes. Things like, I'll give you one example. You have this restaurant, Avino's, and if you follow my campaign page, you know I talk about Avino's a lot. Well, that's just because I live near Avino's. And so Avino's is fantastic. Yep. And so Avino's, they share a parking lot with Premium Mortgage Brokers, and they would like to open for lunch. But the town, we have this outdated rule where we say, well, we look at how many parking spaces you have as a complex. We say, well, you share this parking lot with Premium Mortgage Brokers, and we, the town, have determined together you do not have enough parking spaces. So we're going to say that Avino's, you cannot be open for lunch. You can't be open until 5 o'clock when Premium Mortgage closes. Well, I say, Marty, we have a plan on the website that says we want a downtown village-like atmosphere where you can have lunch and enjoy the surroundings of a vibrant downtown. Okay, well, if that's the plan, then why are we telling Avino's they can't be open for lunch? We have to square that. So when people say, and Marty, you're right, there will be opposition on this, but what I would say back is, I think it makes sense to have a code where you can open for lunch. I would also say this, you know, we need to become more predictable as a town for zoning and planning purposes. You know, Monroe County Economic Development, COMEDA, put out a report that says, you know, Brighton struggles to develop vibrant commercial corridors because our land use is so unpredictable. Meaning our zoning code is so tight that if Marty wants to open up his coffee shop, you can't just, I'm going to buy the property and I'm up and rolling. You have to buy the property and then, okay, now I need all these variances. Well, I have to go to the town supervisor, negotiate incentive zoning. You better come with your team of lawyers. How many extra taxes am I paying on top of that? And that's for a coffee shop. And Marty, I'm simply saying, I think we should have coffee shops in downtown Brighton.
Is there any?
There's Starbucks and then Manzara. But I'll tell you this, you know, if you are saying I want a town with coffee shops and cafes, we should just allow that by use, without having to go through the negotiation.
Totally. So how do we? So is it educating the population? Is it you know? How do you change zoning laws?
Yeah. So it happens over the course of at least 2 meetings and 2 public hearings about zoning laws. That being said, we should be going to you, the public. I mean, the reason why I say yes to all of these shows and the reason why I'm still running a campaign, even though I don't have an opponent anymore, the reason why we are going to have town halls in your community, we're going to have charrettes town halls in our own building, is because I don't think you should be changing laws on a big scale or on any scale, really, without the public really understanding what's going on so that they can weigh in. Yes, they weighed in 10 years ago when this plan was made, and they said, we want this. We should still make sure to go back to that community to say, look, we are going to change zoning laws so it's easier for a coffee shop to move in. We're going to change zoning laws so it's easier for a small apartment unit to move in to Monroe Avenue. Now, if there is a big, complicated project that say, oh my gosh, Whole Foods scale, okay, fine. That can still be, go down the longer track. Sure. We're going to need more conversation. But if you want to open Marty's Bakery, and you want to put it on Monroe Avenue, and you want to put a couple coffee tables or a couple tables out front so people can eat, well, I think we should just allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Through code.
I like it.
It shouldn't be a negotiation.
I like it. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I don't. It's the how long things take. It can just like make people go, I'll just go over here or I'll go over there. Yes. I don't need to do it here.
We're in competition, Marty. I mean, excuse me. When somebody's saying, well, do I want to go to Fairport or Pittsford? They're looking at these types. How long is it going to take me to get open? Wait, I have to pay an extra tax just for being in Brighton, an incentive zoning tax.
Right.
These are unfair barriers to put on our small businesses.
Agree. I totally agree. So I'm a real estate guy.
Yes.
I'm looking at some of this stuff with housing, and I really like a couple of things. I really like the they're doing it in Syracuse, and the Sky's bringing it to Rochester at I can't remember the building. It's where Victoire Bar is, but they're basically taking these larger buildings and then condonizing.
Oh,
them.
Yeah.
And then, but making it where you have to have a certain income level, where it's like workforce condos.
Yeah.
I like that type of thing because it's obviously housing in Brighton's insane. Like you can't get into Brighton without 400.
Yeah.
So what can be done? Is there land that we don't know about? Is there, what can we do?
And
what can I do to help?
Yeah. You know what, Marty? We signed on to the governor's pro housing initiative in the last, I want to say 5 years. You can fact check me. It's on Monroe County's economic development website. So if anything I'm saying is untrue, go ahead and fact check me. I want to say that we've permitted less than 8 new housing builds per year. Now that's not unit, but builds. So if you wanted to build a duplex, that's one. But I'd say there is land available. There are just off the top of my head the projects that I know of. The JCC just the sold land right behind their building along the canal.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
A major piece is Henrietta, but a piece that's Brighton. We just the state announced money to tear down the old psych center to build housing. A lot of that's the city, but some of that's Brighton.
I didn't know some of those. Okay.
You've got we talked about Monroe Avenue. Well, I envision there being apartments along Monroe Avenue. I envision there being, whether it's brownstones or multi-use. There are opportunities, and these opportunities exist without. I don't want to suggest that we change the character of the town. I'm not saying, hey, Marty, let's build a skyscraper on Elmwood Avenue, but there are opportunities within this town that if you remove some of the unnecessary barriers, some of the barriers that are only really in place in the town of Brighton, you would see an increase in housing stock. And I think we both know, or we'd both say that the problem is supply.
Yeah.
Demand. People want to be in Brighton.
Pittsburgh's bringing like 500 units.
Yeah.
With these 2 apartment buildings that are coming in.
Yeah.
That are going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like we can do that too.
And look, I didn't get straight A's in Brighton High School, but I could tell you supply and demand. When the pressure is this high in demand, you need to increase supply.
Right.
And that's very simply, somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, what kind of housing do you want to build? Do you want to build more workforce? Do you want to build more single family residence? What kind of senior housing? And my answer was yes.
Yeah, all of it.
Yes, we need all of that, right? Yeah. I want people to be able to buy their first home in Brighton. I want folks to be able to retire in Brighton, to downsize in Brighton. I want you to be able to buy your next home in Brighton. And right now we have a constriction on supply. And so I would just suggest that we remove some of the barriers. And I'm not saying this. I want to be clear. The way we use zoning and planning right now, we use incentive zoning to shoehorn projects in as a one-off. Marty's going to come to me with his team of attorneys. He's going to offer the town a one-time large tax payment in order for an exemption to build something. Okay, great. Hey, I'll take that deal because it's a lot of money coming to the town. That's how we've done planning. I think it benefits insiders. I think it benefits the big-time developers. And I think it slows housing growth. What I would say is we look as a town, as a community together, and we say, where would we welcome more housing? And then once we've decided, we the public and your representatives have decided, then we should just change the zoning code to allow that and let the developers come in and competitively build and do their projects. I don't think this should be done in one person's office, is my point. I don't think this should be done as, well, if you're willing to pay us enough money, we'll put your housing project anywhere. That's status quo. The change is, let's do long-term community planning. Let's be thoughtful about where we put the new housing. And I believe that if that's our path, we'll both build more housing and build it more equitably.
So let's go with this. Let's go down this road of like, let's say I'm a skeptic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. And I just think people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that when you bring something to NIMBYism is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, so if we keep trying to get everybody involved, again, I'm a skeptic, right? And I'm like, hey, I think sometimes we just need to push stuff through. Okay. And that's not great.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's the right way.
You're in the private sector.
I'm in the private sector. Exactly.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. So I'm like, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. So again, I know they're like, well, there's laws. We can't do that, Marty. But how do we, NIMBYism is a real thing. Like, how do you like go, hey, we want to build housing here? Like, well, not here, so like, what is there, what can be done? Is it just straight up like, hey, do you want your town to die?
Yeah, I like it. You do have to grow. I was just talking to a resident, and they were talking to me about, hey, we want to return to weekly recycling. And why isn't this sidewalk fixed? And why don't we build new sidewalks over here? The reason why people love Brighton is we have a very high level of services in this town. And folks want more. They want the community center. They want more arts and festival funding. They want big things. And I love that about Brighton. We're an ambitious group. We demand a lot from our government, and good. The way to achieve that with rising healthcare costs and everything else, just rising fixed costs that every government at all levels are facing, is you need to grow.
Yeah,
you need to grow. And I guess that'd be my
that's
answer.
That's not talked about a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever talked about. I don't think I've ever heard go, guys, we need to grow this town.
Grow, or what services do you want to cut?
Right. No one's talking about that, though. It's like, guys, if you want the community center, and again, and we could have it, it might be a $300 one-time fee of it, and everybody's taxed, whatever it might be. I don't even know the number. It's probably more.
Yeah.
But like, okay, it's either that or this.
You can say, I don't want any more businesses in this town because I want to preserve things exactly the way they are. I've always said, you tell me if I'm not allowed to cuss in this podcast, Marty, but I've always said there are two political parties in local government. It's not Democrat, Republican. It's keep shit the same, or I'm open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm firmly in I'm open-minded to change side of the party. And, I understand the keep shit the same group. I empathize with, hey, I love where I live too. At the same time, you can't just freeze things in time. The world is changing. Cost of goods is going up. Your family will expand, and you'll want somewhere to take them for rec league basketball. You're going to want an arts festival to go to. You're going to see the need for more sidewalks, and so all of those things lead me to say, well, look, if you want that, then I hope you're open-minded the next time a bakery wants to go into town.
Right.
And by the way, the bakery I see is a good anyway.
Sure.
So I'm not offering I want to be clear. I don't want to offer a path of, look, either we cut services or there's a strip mall at every corner of the town. No. But you can have smart growth that adds to our town's value, and also allows us to offer more services.
Yeah. I want it now.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, Marty. I in my political career, and I also think good government is speedy. And it's funny to say that. Government is set up to be slow. Everything about government shows you that we want things to move slow. But it's always been my political philosophy. This is, my past career before I ran for office, I was a campaign manager for about a decade, moving around the country. I worked in, Virginia and Colorado, Long Island, Rochester. And I followed the kind of the Obama model. And I always tell this story. Obama, his team went into Iowa in the 2007, 2008 primary. and all of the top talent was already working for Hillary Clinton, right? And so he had to kind of build a team up from a lot of newcomers. And so what he started doing was he'd empower volunteers with the authority of staff. And they were able to move fast. And they grew, and he went on to win Iowa and then, of course, the presidency. So when I approached this run for supervisor, I said to my volunteers, I go, I want to find really great people, talented people that I can trust, and you've got the authority to just go. So I had one volunteer, all she did was set up meet and greets. So I remember I got a call one day. She said, hey, Nate, I've scheduled 20 meet and greets in the next 3 weeks for you. And I go, oh my God, that's like every night.
Dang.
And I go, okay, just tell me where to be and when. I didn't know who was going to be there. I didn't talk to the host about the questions. I would just show up. I had another volunteer. He goes, Nate, I'm going to build the website for you.
Wow.
I said, all right, great. He goes, you want me to run the language by you first? I said, no, just go.
Yeah.
You know, and so my campaign team was able to move fast, which is why a huge part of why we were successful. And I want to set up the government in the same sort of way. I want to get really talented people. I want to ask them, hey, how can I remove barriers that's getting in the way of your success? And then I want to move as fast as government allows us to move while keeping all the folks informed on what we're trying to do.
I love it. That's okay. I'm in on that. And
You're sold.
And here's the nice thing. It's not like you're, starting from scratch.
Right.
Like, Bill did I think a pretty decent job.
Yeah. Yes.
I like Bill.
Yes.
And so, that's nice.
Yes.
That you got, I think the town clerk's office is doing great.
Yeah, Dan's great, man.
I think Dan's doing great. I mean, I had I put up a fence. They were, it was bing, bang, boom, quick, online. And then it was a nice experience.
Yes.
Crazy. Isn't that a crazy thing? Like, I was like, going to put up a fence and go, I got to do the permit thing. And it was great. And
yeah.
I think Dan does a lot.
Yes.
He does a lot.
Yes. Agree.
So shout out to Dan.
Shout out to Dan. He's co-chairing the transition team.
Great.
For me. He's fantastic, man. He really is.
Yeah.
And this is really a team effort. When I know I'm sitting here talking to you on camera, the truth is, to get this done, there's a lot of unsung heroes. Dan Amon being one person who doesn't get enough credit in this town. For everything that he does. But I'm talking about the public works team, the folks that greet you when you walk into town hall, the folks who are out there just grinding, working overtime to do leaf pickup and to pick up all the debris from the storms.
Sure.
And
we have that. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice thing to have.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Talk about high level of service.
That was, yep.
So, and those people grind, man. So, and please, I don't want, my criticisms of the town right now are of town policy that we set. I'm on the board right now. I'm criticizing myself as part of the board. Sure. The staff themselves, they are such a great team, and really proud to be working alongside them. And Dan Amon, I mean, you bring him up. I mean, he's one of those. You should get him on the show.
Well, he really cares. He really cares. And just my experience on the assessment review board.
Yeah.
You can just tell he wants to do a good job for the people. He cares about his job. He's always there. He's answering questions. He's positive.
Yeah.
And it's a good guy to have on your team.
I got to tell you, I'll shout out consistently the top vote getter in the town of Brighton
is Dan
Amon. Yes, sir.
Well, deserved.
He's gonna laugh when I shout him out, because he might be the least political person I know.
Sure.
And I mean that in a positive way. He's just every day just about the work and not thinking about the politics. But I always tease him whenever the ballot results come out. I go, Dan, top vote getter again, man. Kicking my butt.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, that's great. But that's the positive of all of this, is that, it's not like we're starting from scratch. There's already been some good stuff that's going on. It's just, how do we take it to the next level?
Yep, that's right.
We got a lot of ambitions.
Yeah.
I know you have a lot of ambition, and that's why it's like, I want things to change.
Man, it's funny. I got into a conversation with a friend the other day about ambition, and I've heard sometimes it's used in a negative sense in politics. I think every elected official needs ambition, or you have bad consequences. Yeah, I think that if you go back to our framers and Madison, those guys, when they're writing the Federalist Papers, they actually write the thing that power will check power, because both sides will be ambitious. I think the danger is when you get an elected official who's been in office for a period of time, and they just say to themselves, hey, the goal is longevity. The goal is to keep the title. The goal is I love going to press conferences. And I like when people call me whatever position, the title that I have.
Sure.
And so when people have called me, ambitious, and I take it as a compliment. Like, yes, I want to achieve great things for the town. That's why I'm doing this. And if you run across an elected official who tries to, oh, shucks, I'm not ambitious, I'd say, then what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
If you're not
this
trying
isn't
to,
for you.
No, you should be trying. Politics is for change. And if you are not in the business of I want to make people's lives better, I want to do big things, I want to change your life in a much better way, then get a different job.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
If you think, I'd say this, let me rephrase it. If you think that everything's going great, then you should be in a different business.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I'm not going to say this is a great way of, but in our business, you need to be a little paranoid. And if you're not, I shouldn't say that. You should be worried.
Sure.
If you're not worried, then you should worry.
Sure.
If you're worried, you don't have to worry so much. But if you're not worried, you probably should worry. Like there should be a little bit of like, I got to get going. Like we got stuff to do. Like we're this isn't your my coach in wrestling would say when we were wrestling. I always remember in practice, but this isn't your English class. Like, we need you to start getting after it.
I forgot you were a wrestler, man. That's why we get along so well.
Exactly.
I knew there was something.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Which the biggest thing is we need to get Brighton wrestling to the #1 spot. We need to dethrone Hilton, my alma mater.
Yeah.
No.
Are they higher ranked right now?
No, but Hilton's always been. They're really good. Spencerport's really good, but we got that should be the #1 goal.
Yeah, I love
the town of Brighton right now. Is how do we bring wrestling back to its old glory?
I love it. Well, I want to shout out my wrestling teammate Connor Lorenzo, my former practice partner, who is the head coach of Brighton Wrestling right now.
I got the. I'm the only one in my neighborhood. Well, I think there's a couple. I got that the Bruins tattoo on my parking. On my driveway.
We should go to a meet.
Yeah, I will. I can't wait.
Yeah. I think I'll say this, man. If I were to weigh in today,
it's not pretty over here.
I'd be up a few weight classes.
Yeah. I'm going against people that would absolutely smash me.
Man,
I'm like 189 right now, and I think about the 89-pounders in high school, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys were giants.
I'll tell you this. I came out of wrestling retirement. I was the assistant wrestling coach in the last school in Washington D.C. that still had a wrestling program. And man, I loved coaching these kids. And they went from they had never wrestled before to a couple of them placed in their version of the sectionals.
Sweet.
And I'd made a bet if anyone placed that I would get off my ass and I'd get into an adult open wrestling tournament.
Oh wow.
And they did. So I wrestled and I won the tournament. Nice. I went to the regional bracket, and this is me in college. So, I'm in college and then no training at all, just getting off my butt and going to wrestle. And so I went up against a Division I guy in his offseason, just trying to stay in shape. Cracked my lung, man. Punctured my lung. Ended up in the hospital, some random hospital in Pennsylvania. And the doctor was a wrestler too, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him. He said, "Hey, you're retired.
Yeah,
this is it." And that was the last time I laced him up.
That's good. You know when to hang him up. That's when you hang him up.
I had one match too many.
But I appreciate the ambition. I appreciate the ambition.
The delusion.
A little bit of that. You got to have a little of that. Nate, where can people find you, buddy? If people want to learn more about what your message is, what the goals are that you have for this community, how can people get in touch with you?
NateForBrighton.com. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram. I have a Substack that I really like to promote.
It's a great Substack.
Thank you. And more to come on that Substack. We've taken a quick pause. I've got some transition team conversations coming out. Mid-December, you will see a slew of new policies being proposed. I'll tell you this is the first time I've said that publicly, Marty. This is a Marty exclusive here.
Let's go.
There will be a series of Substacks presenting our transition plan starting mid-December all the way up to January 1. So we take the field with some momentum and a game plan. I look forward to presenting that plan to the public before January 1st.
Nate Salzman, thanks for coming on the show.
This was great, man. I feel like I've been here for 5 minutes. This was a lot of fun.
We had a good time. I mean, we talked a lot about Brighton. But my favorite thing, we talked about wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting me do that, man.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. That's Nate Salzman, future supervisor for Brighton. This is the Marty Grizzanti Show. Bye-bye.